Sky Squad, we are back in the building, and of course, we got to talk Love and Marriage DC Season 2B. Okay, this is episode 1, and we are continuing from where the season left off last year. Okay, let so let's acknowledge the elephante in the room. Okay, we're gonna acknowledge the elephante in the room. The wild thing about this is that this season was filmed way in the early part of last year. Okay. Right now, as we speak, okay, same time last year, which is probably the only benefit of them airing it at the same time is that it feels like we're on the same timeline, but we're not. It's like we're in the multiverse at this point in time, but last year, same time of the year, last year. It's such a mind freak to me that this is happening in this way. Um, I just think that it was for me. I don't like it. I got to be real with y'all. I don't like it. I feel like too much time has passed, and we know that so much has happened in the interim that has shifted. Okay, we'll say shifted. All right, I won't get too ahead of things because for a lot of you guys, you may not realize that, right? You may not realize the shift, but because I live here in DC, I know, right? I know these people. So that oftentimes also will make it difficult for me to do a review in a way that I feel like is like, I want to be completely real and honest, but I also have to let you guys know that I run into these folks. Lately, I gotta be honest with y'all too. I have been getting hit, okay, just behind the scenes with by some people who are upset about some things that I have said about them. Okay. I won't call no names or nothing like that, but at the end of the day, just know it's happening. And I always try to be cognizant of what I say about people because I know that I have the potential of running into them. I always nowadays, especially nowadays, I talk about people from the standpoint of like, oh, I could run into this person. You know what I'm saying? And I got to be able to stand 10 toes down in what I said because 9 times out of 10, it ain't going to change. But I also know that I'm not coming for people's throats. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gunning for their necks. I'm not trying to run these people down. I ain't trying to destroy nobody. That ain't my mission. That ain't my ministry. That ain't my calling. But I am gonna be as for real as I possibly can be. And that's just the way it's gonna be. I had even to be very transparent with you guys. I ain't even really done a lot of interviews over the past over the past year, to be honest with you, because I ain't really even want to be too worried about what I had to say about somebody and them not liking it. You know what I'm saying? Like that I just want to be free to say what I want to say and keep it pushing. But here we are, okay? And the first thing that I got to be honest about is I just feel like this A B season thing, it just don't work for me. That's just the truth of the matter. I feel like too much time has passed, and for the episode to have been this good, I don't understand the reason for the delay. Now, if it is because we need to look at the elefante in the room is that season 2 was basically the season that we don't have Monique, right? So let's look at it from that perspective. All right. Maybe the network felt itchy or a little bit like skittish about, how things were looking in the absence of Monique. And I would have to say it's completely understandable, right? But at the end of the day, here we are, right? We must deal with where we are and we must still grow the show. It's like still growing and watering a plant. We still need to put the energy and effort and promotion behind it so that it has the chance for success. And why not maximize the chance for success by either putting it right behind Love and Marriage Huntsville or, to give it that lead in or another popular lead in, right? Or just letting it blossom the same way that Love and Marriage Huntsville did in the beginning. Because Love and Marriage Huntsville in the beginning was the little engine that could, and it did. Okay, and look where it is today. So I just kind of feel like you gotta give the show some time to grow, and the only way to do that is to continue filming and putting it out. That's it. Period. Because if you don't nurture it in the way that it needs to be nurtured, then it's not going to grow, right? So anyway, that's just my little diatribe that I needed to give you guys the disclaimer of beforehand. And I also need to give you guys another disclaimer because it has been nagging on me all day as I've been preparing to do this. And one of the things that I have to tell you guys is last year, I think I had heard from a reliable source that Joy, the newest, addition to the show, had called me a messy blogger, right? And so I said to myself, I was like, normally stuff like that, it really doesn't even bother me because I understand it. Some people use the term blogger and they try to use it in a negative connotation, specifically when it comes from the perspective of a reality TV personality. I feel like sometimes there's a tendency to look down on people like me who recap the shows or talk about the news surrounding the shows or whatever like that. And this person, for her to have said that allegedly, because I did not hear it for myself, but I do believe the person that said it. And let me put the alleged badge up here because maybe she felt that way and didn't know me. Maybe she felt that way because of something she saw. I don't really know. I can't really call it, and I don't really, I don't really care to dissect it too much. But it does kind of, in a sense, kind of color how I feel about her to a certain degree, right? That's just human nature. And I just got to be honest with you guys about that. And I'm going to work on it. All right. That is my commitment to you guys. I'm going to work on it because I really want to be able to give her the same grace that I give to anybody else that I'm speaking about, and come from a place of objectivity and neutrality and based on my own personal experiences, which I tend to try to do, right? My opinions are usually based on how I would react and who I tend to if I have a person's perspective, I'm coming from it because I identify with it, as do most of us, right? So I just needed to get that out of the way and let you guys know that that's where I'm coming from. If something sounds like I'm like being a little bit too harsh, that's where it's coming from. And I'm going to work on trying not to be let that color my opinion of her because at the end of the day, I don't have any ill feelings towards her. I don't really know that much about her. And when I did meet her, okay, very briefly at the premiere party last season, I felt like it was nothing but love, at least coming from me, right? And if you know me, if you've been watching me for long enough, then you know this about me. Having said all that, all right, I needed to get all of those feelings out the way, and I have to almost say this too. I had to sit and pray. I was like, am I really going to recap? Am I going to recap this show? Mostly because, again, I know these people, right? I don't know them like, oh, we always talking on the phone and stuff like that, but we running into each other quite frequently, or just in some way, shape, or form. So I had to battle in my mind, like, do I want to really be, having to deal with the repercussions and stuff that I say? But at the end of the day, I want to support the show. And the best way for me to support it, not only by watching it, is also by recapping it. It's my little way of helping, hopefully, to make an impact with the show, the same way that I do the other shows that I love, specifically on OWN and on Bravo and on VH1 as well, right? Having said all that, let's get into it. Just a couple of points that I really want to hit. For me, as we look back at where we are with this particular season, I think that we are coming from a place of, Ashley and Joy have had this knockdown, drag out fight. Let me give you my perspective on that. For me, I don't really allow a lot of people into my home. I'm just going to be very real with you. I don't. I have this general rule in my head about no more than 10 people are allowed in my home at one point in time. Mostly I think it's a little bit of a control thing for me. I think it's a little bit of a spiritual thing for me as well, because I got to make sure that the energy of the people that are entering my space is right, because I don't know what remnants they will leave behind. And I don't know if if I'm a little bit too, in the spiritual weeds, you know what I'm saying? And granted, I ain't perfect, by any means or by any way, shape, or form, but I try to enter people's spaces with positive energy and leave with a positive energy as well. But you know, you just can't control that, right? So do I got to be sage in my house every time somebody comes over? I don't know. Then the other thing is like I can't really control when they trying to leave. Like I'm the type of person, I'm an introvert. If you know me really, really well, then you know that I am like once I've had my fill of people or peopling, then I need to go back and recharge my battery. It is nothing personal. It is nothing about the people around me typically, you know, because I try to curate a space for myself where I'm only around people that have, you know, good energy, positive energy, and the like, right? Which is why I don't really go out to a lot of events. Just not my thing. Not trying to be at all the events. Plus, I've lived in LA. You know what I'm saying? And I did all the events. You know what I'm saying? I did the red carpets. I did all those things like that when I lived in LA. Been there, done that. Bought a T-shirt. I'm good, right? So by the time I'm done, okay, peopling, I need for the people to leave, right? And you never know when the house guest is gonna want to leave. Sometimes the house guests be wanting to stay for a while, right? That's why I don't really like allow a lot of people like into my personal space like that. It's just my thing, okay? No, it's nothing personal. I love the people. However, how that relates to Ashley and Joy, my thought is Joy, if you didn't really feel like Ashley, if you never really got a good feeling from Ashley beyond the point of her telling people that you was married to that man, then I kind of feel like you shouldn't have went to her house. That's how I feel. Why would I go to your house if I don't feel like you got any good intentions for me? Does Joy have a right to be mad about that? Yes, she does, right? Ashley has apologized, but does Joy have the right to still be upset about it? Yes, she does. I'm not knocking. I'm not going to take that away from her because that's her secret. That's her secret. While I do think for the sake of the reality TV show, it made her more interesting because before that, I really don't feel like I knew much about her. I don't feel like I knew much about Clifton either. But also that could be because I didn't watch Ready to Love. And I have to be very honest about that, right? So for me, I felt like that's when things really got kicked off when Ashley said that. I was like, oh, okay, we got some things going on. Should she have said it? No. But did it make things more interesting for the viewer? Yes. That's the reality of the tea. Okay. Now, having said that, why would you go to her house if you don't really feel like she's got good intentions for you? And the first thing you do when you go to somebody's house, for me, honestly, I'm just gonna be 100% for real with you, is unless they are in deep conversation with somebody, and they could be, and that could have been the case, so I don't want to take that from her, is when I'm entering somebody's space, the first thing I got to go do is I got to go find the owner of the house. I got to let them know I'm here, let my presence be known, let them know I'm in the building, because I just know how people are, right? I got enough friends to know that if you don't acknowledge their presence when you enter their space, they're gonna be looking at you crazy. I just know that. You just gotta know your people. And if you don't know your people, then you don't belong in their home. Period. All right. That's just, maybe it's a southern thing. I don't know, but that's just how we roll. When you step into somebody's place, you let them know that you're there. So that was, I feel like, Joy's first two mistakes. You're gonna show up to somebody's house that you don't feel like got any good intentions for you. Then you don't even acknowledge their presence when you enter their space. Two big no-nos. Now, them two getting into the argumentation downstairs, I really don't know how it got from I'm sorry, not sorry, or whatever like that to I brought you on the show. I don't really know, and I don't really know how how what the importance of that is at this point. I really don't, to be quite honest with you, and nor do I care. But I do think it's important to the extent that we get into this new argument with Erana and Ashley. So you know, Erana runs out and she goes and checks on Joy. I did feel like poor little Erana and her Bob, she has somehow found herself in the midst of this argumentation. And I don't even think she knew how she got there. So she ran outside to go check on Joy. Joy is like, she my enemy, she my enemy, she my enemy. And Arena like, what happened? What happened? What happened? And so Joy get to stomping off into the 90s. And then Arena got to go back up in the house. And Ashley's like, get your hands off of me, girl, because you went out and ran out behind her. Okay. Now, the way that Ashley and Erana have been kicking it, you know, hardcore, especially from what we saw during the days where were when Monique was actually a part of the cast, you would have thought that, you know, they was thick as thieves, right? You know, Caroline Manzo style. And so I just kind of feel like I do get to a certain degree why Ashley was like a little bit like, you went to go check on her. But at the end of the day, I did also feel like, well, if Erana just saw her Joy head out first, I feel like checking on both people ain't nothing wrong with that, to be quite honest with you. But um I think that Ashley was probably already riled up, and I think that that didn't really help anything. And I did feel like poor Erana just got really caught into a crossfire of anger. And that's really what it boils down to. The temperature was already hot in the building, and I feel like it didn't make matters any worse. But you can't argue with somebody in their own home. And I just feel like that's really the case. That's again, see, and now we're gonna bring it back to my house, right? Nobody's gonna argue with me in my home. I don't care who you are. I don't care what happened. I don't care how wrong I am. You cannot argue with me in my own home. Now, you can argue with me down to the stove. You can argue with me down to the restaurante. You can argue with me down to the event, but you cannot argue with me in my own home because everybody gonna be escorted out. Period. And that's just the reality of it. So I did feel bad for Erana because I felt like she just got caught up in something that she was really just honestly trying to. I felt like Erana was coming into that situation with the best of intentions and just simply trying to figure out what was going on. I don't think that she would have run to chase after Joy if she felt like Ashley was going to be upset. I don't think she would have had any idea that Ashley would have been upset. I think that they were also still building a friendship so that you just got to know your friends sometimes, right? Some friends you got to know how they're gonna react to things, and some things you just gotta you gotta either say F it, I'm not gonna deal with that and keep it pushing. And Arena's gonna have to make that decision. That's what I think. That's the reality of the situation. Um so everybody goes and they kind of recap the night before. You get Ashley and Quick recapping it, you get Joy and Clifton recapping it, you get Erana and um Jamie recapping it as well. And it is really, I think, decided at some point that Erana is going to talk to Ashley. That is probably one of the best things about this episode. I didn't even rate the episode. Lord have mercy, on a scale of 1 to 10. I got so into everything else that I didn't get a chance to rate it. I wanted to give you all guys all of that disclaimer in the beginning because I don't want to have to repeat myself ever again, right? I wanted to say it to you at the top of the season, let you guys know how I felt, so that I've said it once and I'm not going to say it no more. So if anybody got any commentary later, then they're going to have to refer back to this video. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would rate this episode a 9. I probably would have rated it higher, but it came out so late. I got to be honest with you. I don't like a late. I don't like a year-long delay in a show. I feel like there's no need for it in this day and age when social media is so fast and it's moving so quick. You have got to be on it. Okay, gone are the days when we don't know what's going on. Gone are the days when we don't know, when the cast is not telling us something that is happening. Okay. And what I mean by that is, if you look on social media, you can basically connect all the dots. You can connect all the dots. So it's kind of like then it becomes, well, why do I need the show? I can connect the dots in real life, right? And you expect the show to kind of follow the reality at least somewhat, right? Which is the benefit of the way that Love and Marriage Huntsville is filmed, because they are going, boom, the season ends in January and they're filming again right now, right? That should be the model for every show. I'm done complaining. So that's my rating for the show. Let's talk a little bit about Winter and Yusha. Winter, who looks amazing in this blonde, I was about to say wig, but blonde hair. I love it. Okay. I like the icy blonde look on her. It matched the ice skating ring. I don't do ice skating because I just be feeling like somebody's going to fall and somebody's finger's going to get chopped off. I mean, that's just the way I feel. The ice skates look dangerous. Have you ever fallen on the ice? That it hurts. Okay. It hurts your soul. And you fall in slow motion. I'm 6'3". Do you know how long it takes to hit the ground? It takes an hour to hit the ground. And when you do, it's crippling. So I don't do it. Anyway, let's look at this relationship that she got going on with this man. All right, so in full transparency, I've also met this man as well. I met him along with Winter at an event. Met the man, and I felt like, oh, he seems a little militant, right? I mean, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in like he seemed very hardcore, like rah rah, like a Dungeon Dragon. So, I don't mean that in a bad way. I just kind of mean that in a way that he seemed very, I mean, like, Like, don't start none, won't be none. And that's kind of the impression that I got. With that being said, he did seem to in this scene, he seemed very much a lot softer. And I don't mean again in that in a bad way. I just mean that he seemed more gentle in his approach with Winter, and their connection definitely seemed very it seemed cute, it seemed genuine, it seemed nice. There was a red flag in my mind when she mentioned that she said that she had loved him, and he said, "I appreciate you. I appreciate that. I appreciate you telling me. I appreciate you." If I say I love you and you say you appreciate you telling me, I at that point in time, it might have to be deuces. Okay. Now I understand that everybody don't fall in love at the same time, and I understand that everybody don't express love in the same way. But doggone it, I don't know that I would have mentioned it. I love you. Yes, thank you so much. I'm so appreciative of that. I thank you. I thank you, my sister in Christ. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. I give you honor and grace, my sister. Thank you so much. And I would have been like, you got to go. Anyway, no, I kid, I kid, I kid. Generally speaking, I felt like I've only ever really said I love you unless I felt firmly that I knew that the person was going to say it back. And I know that's cheating a little bit, but I mean that's just the reality of the thing. Okay. I mean, that's just the reality of the thing. And I'm a lovey-dovey person. I want to be all over you person. Okay. I want to jump in your skin. I want to invade your brain. I want to crawl into your mind and understand what your every waking thought is, and even the thoughts when you are sleeping. That is how I love. Okay. I am that person. I want to be, listen, I want to be the cream on your corn. I want to be, I want to be all of those things. Like, that's just how I roll. Love is intense for me. Okay. And I love to feel it. I love it. I just love everything about it. So if I say that I love you and you say I appreciate you telling me that, crushed. Okay. Crushed. More on this situation later. Anyway, let's get back to the thing. You got Quick wanting to meet up with Clifton, right? Now, I love Quick because Quick just seemed like, now what's going on now? What's their last name? who who are these people? With yeah, girl, I'll meet with him. Is he on the show? Okay, yeah, that's fine. I got a gig tonight, so I mean, hopefully I'll squeeze it in. But y'all, I mean, are you sure he on the cast? So he meets with Clifton to try to, get some resolution about the Ashley and Joy situation. I do feel like if I was Quick, I would have probably handled it a little bit different because I felt like he was a little bit too into the minutia. Because I feel like to me, the conversation probably should have just been like, listen, they got some issues going on. How do we get these two women back on the same path? Boom. Okay. But instead, what we went to was, okay, yeah, I noticed my wife revealed that y'all was married and y'all was trying to keep it a secret. Now, what I still ain't got into why they tried to keep it a secret, but I guess that's not my business. Okay. That's their business. If they want to if they want a secret, that is honestly, I'm being for real. I know y'all be thinking like, I mean, I be talking and sometimes I be joking, but at the end of the day, I do feel like if they got a secret and they deserve to keep it, they deserve to be able to keep that secret. And I do agree with Clifton. I do feel like if you, well, let me say this: if I got a secret, I ain't gonna tell nobody. I ain't telling nobody. And that's why I do agree with Quick. I don't. If I have a secret, why am I? A secret don't say a secret if you tell people, and that's just it, right? Um, so I feel like the moment you start telling somebody your secret is the moment that you start like there's a risk, right? Especially if you're still getting to know somebody. That's just my thought on it. Um, Point blank in the period. But I do think that there is a space where, in the sense that I do feel like I don't know as much about Clifton and Joy, the reality of friendship is that you do get to know each other better by revealing information, which is also the end result is that we do know more about Clifton and Joy as a result of Ashley telling us their secret. So friendships are built on shared secrets, shared information, shared backgrounds. Those are things that you do have to unfortunately learn, and sometimes you do learn the hard way whether or not that secret will be kept or not. And that's just the risk that you take when you open yourself up. And it's an unfortunate fact of human nature and friendship, and we all have to discover it for ourselves. And wherever the chips may lie, they lie. And regardless, the fact that they were married, I don't really feel like it was a secret that was detrimental to them in any way, shape, or form. I understand that they probably wanted to keep it for, posterity, and maybe for the sake of, making it a big reveal, or when they were going to get married, or how they wanted to do it. But ultimately, I mean, I just feel like you probably should have never told anybody. And that's just me being real, right? We get to Jamie, not really Jamie, I'm sorry, but Erana and Ashley having a one-on-one. That's again, I give this episode props because they didn't wait. Like when we're watching Potomac and Ashley, no, not Ashley, and Candace and Robin have finally had a sit down 11 episodes, or nine or 11, however many episodes in, like that's insane to me. It's insane. Like, it doesn't make much sense that Wendy and Aneka still have not had a one-on-one Ponderosa to settle their issues or try to come to some resolve. So where I see Love and Marriage DC, and as soon as the issue has happened, the two people who are really actually friends are sitting down and having a conversation within the first episode. This makes sense. This is how reality really works. Friendships really work when they actually sit down and have a conversation, and they don't just have giant blowups in the group settings, right? Because if the two people who are really friends are friends, then they're going to probably have a Ponderosa to try to work things out. So I really like seeing them sit down and try to come to the table by themselves to have a conversation. Even similar, I do have to respect the Quick and Clifton conversation, because I did feel like we're not waiting around to try to get this settled. Although they didn't get anything settled, neither conversations, I appreciate the attempts, right? So in that regard, I have to probably give a lot of props to not only the cast but also production for, putting these things together in a cohesive way that tells a story in a way that is pleasing to the audience, because it seems more real in how it would probably come about in real life, right? This conversation with Ashley and Erana really, to me, just underscores friendship expectation. And what I mean by that is, as you get to know a person, you get to know their little idiosyncrasies, right? And an idiosyncrasy for me is Ashley having the expectation that Arena will come to check on her first, not only because it's her house, but because that's the way she wants a friend to respond, is, I think, a very honest approach for Ashley to take with her. It is vulnerable in the sense that it could be unreasonable. You may find it unreasonable, and that is okay. I respect a person who at least says it, because I would rather know your unreasonable expectations and idiosyncrasies so I can determine early if I can meet them or not. And I feel like this is an opportunity for Arena to determine whether or not she can meet that expectation or not. And it's an opportunity for Ashley to see, can she meet my friendship expectation or not? Or will we have to meet in the middle in some common ground understanding that maybe this situation was a learning experience for both of us? And unfortunately, we have not gotten to that point, because we will also have to determine whether or not Ashley can meet Erana's friendship expectations of, I'm going to be neutral and you can't make me choose a side, or you can't make me feel like I need to choose a side. That is going to be the crucial turning point in this friendship dynamic of whether or not expectations can be met, whether they are reasonable or unreasonable. Okay? I have friends that some of their expectations are probably a little unreasonable. But you also then weigh what they contribute to your life, and if that outweighs their unreasonable expectations. That is, I feel like, where Erana and Ashley are going to have to determine or negotiate how their friendship will move forward. It'll be interesting to watch it play out. I think I have a clue how it's going to play out, but yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Reasonable or unreasonable? Reasonable or reasonably shady? You know, sorry, Eminem. Um, and let me know what you guys thought. I try to give you guys my honest reaction, and however ever anybody feels about it, they just got to feel about it. And I do, for the cast, don't take anything I say personally, because I'm over here having a good time and having fun and dissecting what you do on a reality TV show, not your real life. All right. Well, it is your real life, but I feel like the 90%, I mean, maybe the 80, the 40% that we get of the reality TV show, it was all last year. You shouldn't be mad about what I'm saying now. Either way, I can't help it. I said it. So there we have it. With that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next video.